Welcome to Politics for People Who Hate Politics, Episode 7, our special America-themed show, even though the 4th of July is tomorrow. Woo indeed, Joe. Woo indeed. We have literally 2 guests who don't understand how Google works, so we're going to make fun of them until they arrive, if they ever arrive late. But we figured we wouldn't wait around forever because America does not have forever. All right. So today we have, for now, we might have other people wandering in. We have Joe, we have Michelle, we're lacking Corey, sadly, and again we have David Lowenthal, who blogs for The Forgotten Beard, and we hung out one time and it was great. And then, oh wait, we did hang out one more time after that, so
Yeah.
it wasn't never again. But we have trouble with making that happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have some stuff to talk about that's America-themed, and let's start right off with the part where we're all deeply ashamed of our fellow Americans, and that, to which I refer, of course, to the Californians who like to scream at buses full of immigrant families and children and tell them to go home, and chant USA at them, which I'm happy that you know the name of the country you're in and you know where a flag store is, but that actually isn't an argument. So, immigration. Are you guys grossed out, as I am, by these protesters?
Well,
Yeah.
sometimes I need a good reminder of why it's so fun pointing out the absurdity of extreme nationalism. So this is a good reminder of that. Just crazy people yelling at kids.
Yeah, I mean, it is a nice microcosm of it, isn't it? Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not quite as pro-immigrant as you are, apparently, but this is obviously crossing the line. I mean, what are they supposed to do? You know, you send them back. They don't know where they came from. Are they going to drive around the whole country looking for their parents?
Yeah.
And they're in. I mean, I guess there's nothing you can really do about it at this point, but if people want to protest, it just makes them look stupid.
It does make them look stupid, and like the whole I know they literally throw them. They blocked the buses, and for that level of commitment to protesting, like these people are not throwing themselves in front of the DEA. They're not throwing themselves in front of tanks somewhere. Like there's something truly repellent to me about them going to that much trouble for keep the poor people away. It just pisses me off so deeply.
And I hate protesters in general.
You do, don't you? Yeah.
I do. I really do. I hate all of them.
But
I don't
Joe,
even care what the cause is, because they're almost always. If you get that many people, it's almost always not like 90% of them are just stupid and there for the wrong reasons. And almost every protest I can think of. You know,
I mean, not to judge books by their covers, but you can just tell from looking at the people in the video, like the protesters, and by what they're wearing, that like they think they're the kind of people who think Chipotle is like exotic, and you're like, yeah, I don't. They're terrible.
yeah, they're so. I mean, the woman with the misspelled sign. I mean, Jesus,
Yeah.
like, how easy are you making it? Like, I almost wonder if she was a liberal plant because it was, or any kind of pro-immigrant plant because it was too easy with her. Terrible.
Yeah, I think that mayor of that town is a real piece of work too, because he was like, well, because they had signs like, you know, stop illegal immigration and illegals out, but then I read that he did an interview where he's like, showing a bunch of angry people isn't a true reflection of Marietta. I'm like, well, it's the only reflection that we're pretty much going off of, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, there they were, being a bunch of angry people.
Yeah. But then I got to thinking about it. It's like Americans are always stoked about the last wave of immigration. Like
Yeah.
they're never stoked about the current wave. They're always like, you know, oh, you know, in the 19th century, look, you know, my grandfather came over from Italy or from, you know, Greece or the Ukraine. But whenever it's like this generation, they're always like, hell no.
That's right, yeah, it's true. And they always forget. There's no memory of like, the U.S. didn't collapse last time. And once upon a time, there were not that many restrictions on this stuff. There's no memory of that. The U.S. seems particularly, well, again, I mean, we discussed this before. It's not just the U.S., but people, like the terror of immigrants is such an old, boring, frustrating, and depressing story. And there it is again. And some people I like otherwise still fall into this, and it's very strange to me.
I don't know. A lot of it, like I think we discussed last podcast, goes back to welfare and voting and demographics and stuff like that. They don't want these people messing up. I mean, everyone thinks. I don't know. I don't know what exactly they think is so like perfect about right now. Like this is the ultimate. And
We got the mix just right.
Right,
The melting
it's like,
pot is perfect. Do not fucking add anything else.
Bobby Flay perfecting his barbecue recipe, and all these Mexicans want to come in and add hot sauce. I don't know.
That's a solid allegory or I don't
When
know.
I add beans and rice, you can't mix Mexican and continental.
Ah, you're right. Keep the metaphors of food coming. That's very good.
Well, there's an analogy that I keep like thinking of that Grover Norquist came up with, and it's actually pretty poignant. He compares it to like speed limits, and he was like, you know, it like people who complain about like illegal immigration now keep saying enforce the law would be like people who, you know, when we have an obscenely low speed limit that everyone's breaking, they'd be the people who say, well, we need to enforce the law now, and then when everyone's going, you know, fucking 25 miles an hour down the Beltway, then we can increase it. Like, it's a stupid law. That's why people are breaking it, and so it needs to be changed.
Absolutely. I think the most basic, like, I'm a little sympathetic to cost and welfare concerns because I don't, you know, I'm not really, I wouldn't, you know, if I were queen of the U.S., I wouldn't cut welfare first, certainly. But at the same time, I'm perfectly fine saying people, you know, should come here to work, and mostly they do, and a lot of them end up paying taxes anyway. If people would approach it from that angle, I say we can talk. If they approach it from the screaming at buses angle, or even the moral outrage drudge headline, the hordes are coming, like, then I don't care to engage because I don't think you're doing it in a reasonable way. I don't know.
Yeah, and people are allowed to have, you know, obviously different opinions on the matter. It's, you know, it's not a black and white issue, but everything that seems to be, you know, put forward as far as like keeping people out, I mean, it's just creating a common enemy. And I don't see anything being suggested that wouldn't just erupt into violent nationalism. You know, that's the point I wish people would, you know, understand. It's like, yeah, you're allowed to not want them here, but do you understand that what you're proposing is like the worst thing ever?
I mean, I gotta say, I was arguing with Justin Raimondo from Anti-War last night, and he loves to argue, and I can't bash him too much, and I like him in spite of him, I think, being incorrect on some things. But he was talking about a perfectly sealed border, and he was talking about troops on that border, which every good libertarian should instinctively think, whoa, that sounds like a bad idea. Even for purely selfish American reasons. Like, that just seems like there are some bad suggestions being made. And the border security stuff already harms Americans. They already get subjected to searches, you know, up to 100 miles within the border. It's bizarre. But more to the point, though, some of the other general immigration critiques are things like that they're gonna mess up like Joe was saying with the perfect balance of the soup. They're gonna mess things up and stuff. And I guess I want to bring that around to to libertarians / anarcho-capitalists, minarchist Joe, like what the hell is America to us anyway? Which is absurdly broad, but like, is there anything to this idea that America is this concrete thing that could potentially be ruined by X, Y, or Z? Like secession, for example?
I'm all for secession. Just throw that out there. I think America has run its course. We can have, you know, 3 or 4 Americas. Why not? I mean, at this point, what is, you know, America is just a concept. It's an idea.
Yeah.
it more than really any other country is a constant evolution of new ideas and new immigrants, and you know, it was built on, I guess, the Constitution, but I mean, it's not what it once was. It's it basically over the last 200 years, it's the melting pot of the world. So I don't know. America's just a bunch of idiots, I guess.
That was riveting, Joe. Thank you. So you're saying the Constitution is a living document, Joe? That's what you're saying, isn't it?
No, not what I meant.
Well, okay, so that's what it comes down to. Like, some of my favorite libertarians, they don't have any sort of even sentimental feelings towards the Constitution at this point. People like Sheldon Richman. And I still have this idea when putting on my small government hat that, I mean, it could have been worse. We could have had some, and it would be worse if we tried to rewrite a constitution today, because one assumes you would get a couple 1,000-page positive liberties nightmare of a document, like something European. How do we feel about the Constitution? Even if we're more radical than what's in those slim pages, what do we think?
I don't know. My view on it has always been like, yeah, it sucks in a lot of ways, but it's what we have, and there are a lot of facets to it where you can, I mean, if you can get a big enough coalition together, you can really push them. So it's like, my theory has always been to just push the pro-liberty aspects in it just as far as you can, see where that gets you, because you always start out from the point of where you are, not where you want to be. So, I always hate to quote Don Rumsfeld, but
please, you hate that, yes.
Yeah. But you go to war with the army you have, and the Constitution is what you have. They're not.
So you can use it to try to preserve or claim back more freedom from people. If it works, it works.
So just say like Napolitano, like Andrew Napolitano says that Second Amendment allows you to buy literally any gun you want and any weapon you want.
Yeah.
Just push that. Or free speech lets you, say pretty much whatever you want. And then there's innumerable negative rights in the Ninth Amendment.
Yeah, I was just arguing with a constitutional expert in that he's an attorney, and I guess that was his field of focus. And he was trying to tell me the Ninth Amendment is totally meaningless. And I was like, no, you can get so much negative, delicious, juicy prime out of their negative liberties from the Ninth Amendment, and nobody ever seems to notice it.
I mean, the thing about the Constitution is, in theory, yes, it could be better, but in practice, I don't think. I mean, could it in reality be better than it is? Has there ever been a document governing a nation that's been better than it is?
No.
I mean, it's not even close. It's so far above and beyond everything else that's ever, been the center of governance of a country. I mean, it's good to say that, yes, it could be better, and yes, we should work to make America better. But, I mean, it's a pretty good starting point, especially in comparison with the rest of human history.
Yeah, I mean, it's low standards, but that's not untrue, I suppose. But at the same time, I've often thought that America has this nice idea about itself and being free, and that's a substitute for actually making sure that you're still free. Like, if you just tell yourself you're free, then you might not notice how unfree you become. And I think there's a lot of that. So, arguably, there's a danger in, the nice myth of American freedom, because people believe it without knowing what it should mean in practice and without realizing that in front of them is not that.
But of course, in practice, it's never been that way in the history of the world.
That's also true, in spite of the 18th century starry-eyed people.
I mean, it's fine to look at things with, stars in your eyes about what freedom and liberty could be, but then, you have to realize that in the context of human history that things just haven't been that way. And, that's what libertarians are here for, to push it in that direction, I think.
Right, yeah. I feel like at one point Joe was saying something that really needed a particular Lysander Spooner quote that I can't do it offhand about. Michelle, do you remember about the Constitution? It either allowed, the current state of tyranny circa 1830, so that's kind of funny, or it did nothing to prevent it, so either way, it's to hell with that document. That's a paraphrase of it.
Yeah, I don't remember the quote. David said Donald Rumsfeld, and he just left.
That's what happens when you say his name two times.
Yeah, exactly. I just had known unknowns in my head the entire. I heard nothing that Joe said. So
outstanding. We're having a rocky time. Oh, there he is. Good.
There he
is. He knows how to use damn Google without help, like some people who aren't here.
That guy moved it out.
We booted you.
Yeah.
Stay here, David. Don't
You
go.
weren't American enough.
Yeah. But why am I still here then? All right. Well, here's another question. 4th of July is coming up, right? Patriotism, in any sense, even the sort of bullshit dissent is patriotic, and I was like, is there anything about patriotism that works for you guys? Is it just a terrible concept that should be kicked to the curb? Or is the fact that America tried a little harder for freedom worth some kind of recognition? What do we think?
I think patriotism separated from politics is good. Like patriotism, like towards, yourself and your family and your property and your community.
But is that patriotism, David? I mean, doesn't that make the word meaningless?
No, I don't think, because I think that's like, to me, that those are the things that should be celebrated. But it's when that gets identified with the state and the state's ambitions, I think that's where it goes awry.
Yeah.
But I think we all have the inclination, and it's really seamless nowadays because people, they're constantly saying, like even libertarians, and it kind of pissed me off when they're arguing against war, is saying, well, we did this to them, or we did this to the Iraqis, or like, I didn't.
Oh no.
Lord, this is not our day for technical stuff.
NSA got him.
Yeah, that'll happen. Yeah,
But
for a while.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I was just to say, like, that's one of the most frustrating things, what David was talking about, the we. Like, I catch myself saying, we did this, we did that, and
me too.
it aggravates me. I try to catch myself on that.
I used to just, when I was like a teenager, I stopped saying that completely because it is a garbage, and it is actually a dangerous sort of turn of phrase in what it represents. But I've started, I don't know, I've fallen back into the habit of saying that again, which is bad.
I think it goes back to, I think it's entwined with, like, the notion of how sports teams, we operate as the we, it's us, the Pittsburgh Steelers, we won the Super Bowl, we won the Stanley Cup. And with patriotism, it's kind of like, when America wins a war, it's like, yeah, we won, we beat the other side. And I think that's...
So it's like evil sports. It's
right.
like evil
sports, actually. It's pretty much just sports. And that's kind of where patriotism goes wrong, I think, is the notion of we, and, it is entwined with we the people, and it kind of goes back to the Constitution, and that's probably one of the big negatives with it, but, the concept of we is, I think, a bad one to get into.
Well, I mean, is there anything good about that, though? Like, if you feel, I don't know how often people actually feel connected to, like, their neighborhood anymore. I don't think white people of our type, no offense, Michelle, because you're not as white as the rest of us. I'm making assumptions here. They don't tend to feel the same connection to neighborhoods and stuff. But, if you did, that there's not a very good chance that can lead to some sort of governmental tyranny. But then even that is possible. Even a block or a neighborhood. Certainly a city, it can start to get unpleasant if you start talking about, your mayor did this and we did that. And it can get bad at a relatively small level of government to feel the we at all. So I don't know if there's anything good there.
It's collectivist socialism.
Yeah.
We leads to socialism.
So why do conservatives love it then? I mean, why is that their favorite thing?
They didn't always.
Didn't
used to
they?
know. Well, like definitely like post-Reagan conservatives, but you know, even if you read like Burke and Kirk and those types who had their flaws, but they were also really skeptical about intervention. Like even Russell Kirk, like I think he resisted the draft in
Mm-hmm.
World War II, or he wrote some like scathing letter about how like the draft was kind of slavery.
Yeah, we need a couple more of that kind of conservative. That'd be nice.
The Rand Pauls.
I mean, but of course, liberals are the same type. They just have their god awful social contract, or my personal favorite. Well, no, the Maddow. I mean, government's the name for things we choose to do together. That's the perfect summation.
It's we blockaded Cuba. So.
I get up every morning to blockade Cuba.
Yeah. First thing on my docket.
That's right.
Cuba.
I mean,
Go ahead.
All right. Well, so explicitly, all right. Specifically, the 4th of July. Do you guys do anything relevant to the day? I mean, do you think about
Hell no.
choose your favorite founding father? I believe mine was John Jay, because he actually repeatedly tried to end slavery in New York State, so that was pretty solid, actually. And also Benjamin Franklin, because he had the decency to not be president. Washington?
Yeah. I mean, he was a jerk, but he could have been king, and he said no. That's
yeah, but Ben Franklin didn't even bother to try to run anyone's life. Ben Franklin
was with the
better.
whores.
Yeah, exactly. He was just hanging out with all the ladies and inventing bifocals and what have you. How can you?
Yeah, he's probably the best.
How can you beat Ben Franklin? Come on.
I'm just a fan of the July 4th aesthetic. Like, I like red, white, and blue, and like, I don't know, baking things that have those colors and looking.
So you feel okay with? You don't feel like just paralyzingly principled and I can't. The cake is red, white, and blue, and I can't. Like, it doesn't bother you? None of it?
Nah. It is bad though. I'm like self-aware about it. Because I don't want to feed into. I don't know how to put this. Like, back to the patriotism thing. I think like the conservative brand of patriotism was at one point, I guess, post 9/11, like the worst thing in existence. But that became so caricatured, and like now it's the I guess the liberal brand of patriotism that I fear the most. This like undying, like, yeah, but because I don't know, it's just I don't know what I'm saying. Like, it used to, conservative bashing used to be fun, but it's no longer amusing outside of like election cycles. And then liberal bashing of conservatives is like no longer creative at all. When in fact, like, the liberal brand of patriotism should be like the one, I don't know, being ridiculed. So when I like partake in these kind of patriotic, like self-aware, ironic things, I feel like I'm feeding into like the uncreative conservative bashing of that patriotism. That's like a long-winded explanation, but yeah.
Well, that makes sense, and also the general impulse to mock the people in power who've suddenly forgotten how funny and frightening the leaders were a couple of years ago. I mean, that's just a libertarian impulse to just, mock whoever needs mocking most at the time. And yeah, we had the era of Bush, dopey Bush and evil Cheney, and like now we have pompous Obama, and I mean
dopey Biden.
Yeah, God.
Even if you go back to like back to kind of the liberal patriotism part, like what was the last big criticism of George Bush during all that? It wasn't necessarily that he took us to war, it was that he asked us to go shopping. He didn't ask anything of us.
He couldn't pronounce things,
He
which is
didn't.
literally the
No,
worst thing in the world.
they were complaining that he didn't militarize society enough. They wanted like the World War II FDR, like, we're in this, and because that's like the liberal version, because they want kind of all of society going towards one kind of collectivist goal. Like, when they see like the newsreels of people working on tanks and planes and everything, it's like I think they're really nostalgic for that.
Well, that's the David Brooks and Friedman and other people, who always come up with this like they're the very first. We don't have a national goal anymore, and our young people are lost, and so we should, enslave them for a couple of years to make them feel like they have more of a purpose. I mean, I would consider that. I mean, I think the FDR nostalgia, the nauseating stuff, is that is a thing. But there's also the supposed like middle ground, which is always the people who are sort of awful on all issues.
Yeah. Okay.
And that is the Brooksian Friedmanite, just
Yeah, basically saying horrible things in like catchphrases.
Yeah.
Basically, Thomas Friedman.
Indeed.
When I think
yeah.
of July 4th,
Okay.
I do not think of the founding fathers. I do
Okay.
not think of government. I mean, who really actually is like out there stumping for America on July 4th? Nobody cares. People just want to go to barbecues and drink a lot of beer and watch some fireworks. I mean, people aren't like going into their libraries and breaking out their constitutions and their Bill of Rights and their Federalist Papers and boning up on their.
Maybe they should, Joe. Maybe that's where we went wrong.
Maybe they should. If Glenn Beck and them had their way, they would. But I mean,
at least
I will not think about when I jokingly say USA and America rules and all this other stuff. It has nothing to do with government or constitution. It has to do with grilling and beer and the freedom, the individual. That's what my July 4th is about.
Yeah, it's about
me.
You care about yourself and having fun, and it's not about going to listen to Ted Cruz or Harry Reid give a speech on the National Mall. It's like, fuck that.
Yeah. I mean, there's still the subtext of America taking it back, which there's many an anarchist who would just be like, fuck that. And I have a fondness for I have a soft spot for the pretend America, the one that liberals are so grossed out by, that never was fully individualistic. But even, I don't know, like, so things that make me feel fondness for America, one of which is geographically, it's awesome. I mean, things within the border of the country known as America, like there is land that is wonderful, there are cities that are wonderful. And, there's a lot of nasty history that I wish wasn't there. Hypocrisy and intervention and slavery, problems like that. But, I don't know, like 19th century individualists, Henry David Thoreau and Lysander Spooner make me like America because they were such a product of America. And, yeah, I mean, the 4th of July in particular, I may eat some delicious grilled item. I will hear something explode, probably far away, because I don't bother to make things explode on my own. And, I mean, I suppose I do think about, we're having this podcast right now, so I do think about this, but at the end of the day, yeah, it once again comes down to the Jeffrey Tucker, Radley Balko, other politics haters answer of you ignore the politics and you live, damn it.
I think it was Doug Casey who has a good kind of idea about that. He separates kind of like America, like the ideal, from like the United States. Like America is the place we all want it to be. It's the place of liberty, freedom, free markets, free trade, just freedom all around. But we've become like the United States, which is just statism and leveling and banality and everything. War.
Yeah, and come to think of it, I just feel like if I feel ashamed, because those people in California were yelling at immigrants, or somebody's going back to some Middle Eastern country to bomb something, it's almost the ultimate not collectivism is to pick and choose what you like about it and not feel, as long as you didn't vote for any of it or support any of it, then you really didn't do it at the end of the day. And the idea that we invaded Iraq, no, I was having a tonsillectomy and I was 16. I definitely don't remember. Somebody may have propped me up Weekend at Bernie's style, but I don't.
You signed the Declaration, Lucy. We know it was you.
I'm sorry, but yeah, picking the stuff you like, that is the individualistic answer at the end of the day, I think. I hope. So nothing was resolved. But that's okay. This is a learning process. It's a living constitute. Just kidding. Our final thing, which is going to lead into that, is the things that we like better than politics, but are also America themed. I don't know if you guys have ever watched a bit of Fry and Laurie, the sketch show from back in the day with Hugh Laurie and Stephen Fry. There are two great ones where they make fun of America. One where they just talk like John Wayne, and they're like in the military, and they just say the word ass all the time, which is really funny. Because British people doing American accents is usually hilarious. But another one is simply Hugh Laurie playing the piano, and he's just singing America over and over again, and over and over again. And finally he starts singing the States, the States, the States, and then eventually Stephen Fry just punches him. But that's a British person's impression of what our pop culture is. Like, we can't stop serenading America in a way that Britain, really doesn't do that, I think. So what kind of America-y pop culture do you guys enjoy? Like, what hath America granted you that is not Harry Reid and Ted Cruz and other people like that, and slavery?
Hot dog.
Oh. Sorry. Like Michael Bay, that was brash and.
Did you see Michael Bay?
Yeah.
Why?
Talking about Con Air, The Rock, Transformers, Hollywood explosions. That's what I love about America.
Do you think that's a uniquely American? I mean, anybody can ape any style, I suppose, but that's America.
I think that's the most American of all cinema. I mean, everyone else the British do it, they're more historical. I feel like, the Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Southeast Asian, they do it more human elements.
Mm-hmm.
And the Americans more just about packing explosives and, swear words and hot babes and just, in one American package, basically.
See, when you say that, I just...
And then shooting it out of shotgun.
Feel a pride that I wish I could feel
even
all
Joe
the time.
Biden wants you to buy a shotgun. Buy a shotgun. Buy a shotgun. What
So beautiful, though.
Independence Day is a good movie.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it is.
It's like the ultimate American film. You have, Will Smith beating up aliens with Randy Quaid and Jeff Goldblum. And then I think that movie has one of the best speeches ever, ever, from Bill Pullman as president.
Right.
It's amazing. Yeah.
If that doesn't make you love America, nothing will.
I stand by that statement. If you don't love America right now, you should watch it.
We need an alien invasion to bring us together. I think that's what America's missing.
I do think that in every single alien movie I've ever seen, people are too calm. I think that in real life, people would it would be bad. So I don't think, myself included. But Independence Day was directed by
Roland Emmerich.
Is he German or like Austrian or? Well, he's not American. That's one thing I'm sure of.
We can pretend Michael Bay directed it.
He's from the American School of Filmmaking, Lucy.
I mean, clearly. I'm pretty jazzed for those sequels, too. That actually is almost an Independence Day tradition, is that will be airing on TBS or
It's the
such-
Christmas story.
Or-
yeah.
For America.
And if it's just on, like, how am I going to not start watching it when I see it on the listings? How am I going to get away?
I think that might be the best thing America has ever done.
But and an immigrant made it, and isn't that just
That's
so beautiful?
He also made
Ah.
the Patriot too, or the Mel
That's
Gibson.
right, yeah. Another
That's right.
super American movie.
Badass.
Oh, I hate that movie though.
Really?
Yeah, because it's like, if you're gonna be historical, don't be so god awful. I demand my history to be boring and accurate.
Well, I don't mind it. I don't mind it not being accurate unless you see like a cannonball taking off from the guy's head.
That did happen. I remember that.
Yeah.
So Independence Day, we've all come together on that. It's beautiful. What else is there? David,
the hot dog eating contest
Oh.
tomorrow. Sorry, I just want to talk about Joey Chestnut.
tell us about the hot dog eating contest by all means. Tell us.
Well, it's awesome, and I actually feel rage whenever I hear someone bash or see someone bashing it online, like, oh, this is disgusting, it's gluttony, and this is such a bad example of America, and people should be ashamed. And I'm like, no, this is everything I'm about. I actually, although I can't watch it, I've listened to it the last 2 years, just because.
What, like a color commentary, like play-by-play?
I'll just like cover my eyes while it's like on ESPN because I start gagging at how disgusting. I mean, it's water and hot dogs. So my favorite.
And you still watch it?
Yeah, my favorite American thing is something that I can't even watch really, but it's great. And Joey Chestnut is going to win his 8th title tomorrow. I think his record was like 69 hot dogs last year.
So an American's gonna win, not some like jacked up Japanese guy.
No,
you mean
'cause
some
go by-
tiny. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always some tiny guy.
He was, what is it, banned, I think.
Yeah,
He
was
tried to
banned.
crash the last one. Or yeah.
He tried to crash it.
Yeah, because he was banned from it because he puked and he didn't win or something. It's really weird.
So this is the dream, is the surplus, the hot dogs enough for eating contests, you know? Like, that's what the liberals don't want. They don't want us to have hot dog eating contests. And the conservatives only want white men to have hot dog eating contests. I don't know where this is going. But this is a beautiful vision, Michelle.
I think it's one of the most American things in the world, just to, stuff your face. No, hunger's not involved. We've moved way past hunger.
Mhm.
We're at a point where we can just,
Total
eat
excess.
food competitively and make it into like this big, awesome sport. And I think that's what America's about. Competition in literally everything.
Yeah, it's
I
like
don't agree with that. No.
Fourth of July for me is like if I could use one word, it'd be excess. And that's what I love about America, is like total excess. Like, one thing I hate hearing all the time is, well, like, why do you need that? Like, why do you need an SUV, or why do you need 15 bullets in a chamber? Like, I don't need it. I want it, and that's
Yeah.
enough. It's like it's not a bill of needs. It's not like rationed rights. And,
Yeah.
like these liberals who want government vouchers for speech and things. It's just absolute ridiculousness. And so yeah, hot dogs. Go burn a bunch of gasoline for no reason. Chop down a redwood. I don't know. Do whatever.
Maybe don't do that, though.
Yeah,
Because
so-
they're nice. I mean, they're nice. You don't have to chop them down. You can tell a liberal you did that to make them cry. That's okay. But don't actually do it, because they're nice treats. I think that's an okay compromise.
And no one's forcing Joey Chestnut or any of these competitors to enter this contest. I mean, and it's not fun. I think I read somewhere online like a breakdown of what I think Joey Chestnut wrote it himself, of what it's like to go through each minute during the contest, and it sounds horrifying.
It's like
his
climbing Mount
body is
Everest. I mean, that's sports. That is sports.
his body's shutting down from all the hot dogs and nonsense. But he does it, and it's awesome. He's choosing to stuff his face.
Byproduct, I know.
Yeah.
That's rough. I guess what do I love about America besides the things I already said? Well, I mean, musically, we are kicking ass. Britain has some good stuff. I found this shirt today. I'm so bored with the USA. It seemed appropriate enough. And it's a reference to a Clash song, and I made it like a decade ago. So British people have good music, but we have the most kick-ass, again, most melting pot-ish music around. We have, I love my punk music. I have my Jello Biafra Mosh Pit Induced Bruise right here. I'm very proud of it. And, we have all that delightful country music and old-time music, all the shit that comes, like Appalachian stuff that comes from these particular, or, Delta blues, things that come from chunks, geographical sections of America. Like 19th century murder ballads make me feel patriotic in an inexplicable fashion. There is something about America that I really do like at the end of the day. As much as the cool, angry kids try to make me, say fuck America 24/7, I don't quite have the heart for that. Or I have the heart for not that. You know what I mean?
Well, I always ask, like, people who say fuck America, I always ask, like, where else is better? Like,
well, there's that.
Where else would you rather live? Like, sure, in Sweden you might get your, healthcare, but what are you gonna do really? Like, it sucks.
I mean, I don't know. Sweden might be fine. An eighth of me is from there.
But
yeah. But I don't know. It's just, it's like, I don't know, culturally speaking, and just, I don't know, like, my favorite anecdote is, like, when everybody was switching to, like, the metric system, and even, like, Canada, like, waited out for, like, we're going to wait for America to do it, and then they switched, because it's like, it's like, we just do things differently. Like, sure, the metric system
makes more sense.
Way better. Like, hella dumb. It's and it's like, I'll keep my indecipherable, inches to feet to yards. I still have no idea how many ounces are in a gallon, but
that's the America that I want to be completely like. I want the only criticisms of America to be the douchey liberal in the Daily Beast going, all these speech laws in Europe are so enlightened. America's just falling so far behind, and we allow all this hate speech. All I want is to be able to make fun of liberals like that all day, because all they have to say is America needs to be like Europe in these god-awful collectivist ways. I want the imaginary America where we're awesome and individualistic, and we don't bomb everywhere all the time, and we don't have all the shit that we actually do have. I want my imaginary America that was promised.
And
if you turn off your computer, you'll probably find that America in about 5 minutes.
Well, there are pieces of it. It's true.
I mean, I feel like the internet basically forces Washington and all these opinions kind of down our throats. And I mean, you think people in like Wyoming really care about any of this?
No, it's someone who's from that general part of the country. I can guarantee nobody gives a fuck.
He's from northern Idaho. He's basically
it's like everybody here pretty much thinks
except for the racism.
Organize a militia at the drop of a hat, which I wish was the case, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like it's not this amalgamation, and that's what comes of pretending that America is made up of
the people on Twitter.
Well, no, a quarter of California, New York City, and D.C. more like.
Right.
I mean, the flyover country slur both from liberals and about. They really do, like, that people do ignore most of the country most of the time in the media sense and the political sense. It's very strange. It's just, but it's better than if they were, I suppose, if they were paying attention to it all the time.
Yeah. Does it ever seem like for me, like, since I moved here, it seems like that kind of left liberal kind of point of view, even though it tries to present itself as being some kind of like universal thing, it's actually like really provincial.
Mm-hmm.
Not like they are really out of touch. Like, not, I mean, obviously not everything they say I disagree with, like in terms of like social issues and things like that, but they're not as universal as they like to think. Like,
Well, there is a provincial is exactly the word for a certain type of liberal, who just it's New York or die, or San Francisco or die, and nowhere else. The people who like there are cliched Midwesterners and cliched Deep South people in the world, totally, but this assumption that they're all your Sarah Palin nightmares. Like there are people in the world who really do seem to think that.
yeah. And most of the people in New York are great, except the op-ed writers, pretty much.
Except Thomas Friedman and David.
Yeah, exactly. Like
David
David Brooks and Paul Krugman and like Gail Collins just need to like form their own little club and wear signs so people know not to hang out with them.
Yeah, something like that. But at the end of the day, though, I mean, there are people who do take some of our tax dollars and use it to buy missiles, and they use those missiles. And that's
Michael Bay movies, which is where they should be.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, just tax for Michael Bay movies.
Like Michael Bay.
I'd allow that. I think. Yeah. Well, America. I feel like we've come to some good conclusions about America this evening. So I guess what are you guys actually doing on the 4th of July? What's the plan?
I'm going. Wait, is it tomorrow?
Yeah.
I was sort of. Well, yeah. We can admit that that's actually tomorrow.
I don't know.
It's today.
Weird.
Totally.
Hopefully, eating grilled meat.
Grilled meat. Fair enough.
Same thing I do every weekend, pretty much.
All right. Good. David, you're in Mordor. Do you have any Mordor-related plans?
I'm just gonna probably meet up with a friend like after he gets done sailing, which is like a common excuse I hear for East Coasters. Like, I've never heard that.
What? Like
sailing? Like, I don't know. I just think that
yachting.
Everybody out here is like really into brunch. Like,
oh, I know they are, David. I know.
Never shut the hell up about brunch.
They never do. They never do. They
Like,
love brunch.
And they plan them out like weeks in advance. Like, I was like,
know.
I'm on a trip here, like on the 31st. And that's like 3 weeks away. It's like, oh, is that Sunday? Can't. I'm doing brunch.
Oh my God, you're so right. I wish I was
Yeah.
there to complain about brunch with you a little bit, but also I'm
Yeah.
glad I'm not. If you follow me.
So yeah, and then just drinking and not giving up the fucks.
Sounds good. My most ridiculous 4th of July is probably the one I spent my first summer in DC when I went to go see Adam Kokesh not get arrested for once at the Thomas
That
Jefferson.
was the event. Watch Adam not get arrested.
He and a few other people were doing some Thomas Jefferson Memorial Dance partying, but not one of the ones that had actual arrests, just police lurking. But I put on my Pittsburgh Normal shirt in black, and I went to go scope it out, and then I had to reassure him I wasn't some sort of undercover cop because I was like a strange person, like shyly lurking, all dressed in black. But it was a pretty.
Everybody's an undercover cop at this point.
And that's fair, unfortunately. Yeah. But that was my most ridiculously anti-4th of July. Most of the time, I just find Independence Day playing on TBS and start watching it. I do.
It's a solid plan. Really,
I think so.
good general issue.
Michelle, what are your official plans?
Just binging on Roland Emmerich films, all of them. Just
Oh, America.
I'll watch Stargate like 17 times and then move on.
I keep falling asleep during that movie, but I don't think it's Roland Emmerich's fault. It might be my fault.
It's the movie's fault, and this is coming from a huge Stargate fan. Yeah, I mean, I love James Spader, and it's just
It might be James Spader's fault at the end of the day, because he's kind of unsettling.
He's the only character I liked in Lincoln, by the way. His character was the only one who was worth watching for.
Oh, man, we could have talked about bad presidents, which is all of them. You know what? Before we go, I'm switching up here. Who was your worst president? What'll be our ending survey query?
Wilson.
Yeah, I was gonna say Wilson.
Easy.
I
Joe?
know.
I'm going to go off the grid and say FDR.
Thank you. I think that sometimes they're really neck and neck. You can make good arguments for both. or bad arguments, or arguments for badness of both. FDR I knew about and despised earlier, and his reputation is still so much higher that I think it's tempting to pick him, because people don't, even liberals don't really love Wilson the way that they still love FDR.
Yeah.
Or Teddy. Teddy's a close second for me, just because he's a sick fucking racist and murderer.
He loved war so
Andrew
much.
Jackson doesn't get the hate he deserves.
Oh yeah, dude. I'd burn 20s, but they're 20s, so
Yeah.
Jackson,
spend them.
there's so many bad ones.
Like, TR actually, like, his life's mission was to, like, kill a man with his bare hands.
He probably did that as a child.
Yeah.
But no, he was a weak, sickly child. That's why he became such a douche later.
His own daughter said that he wanted to be the bride at every wedding and the corpse at every funeral. Because he was such a narcissist.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, no wonder he's remembered so fondly. Well,
Thank God for President Bill Pullman, though.
oh my
Saved
God.
us all. We're good.
Yeah.
I was wondering once if they would ever have really let him, like, could they have stopped him from participating in the final battle, Because, like, isn't it their job to protect him from flying fighter jets as the
Yeah.
president? But
Oh,
they
there's-
needed him. They needed him.
Speaking of that, that actually reminded me of something. There's a hilarious SNL skit where it came out like right when that movie came out, and it's like a presidential debate because it came out like during the '96 election, and it's Bill Pullman's president character debating Norm Macdonald playing Bob Dole.
That sounds awesome. I can't believe I've never seen that.
It's the most hilarious thing ever, and he's like, or Bob Dole's like, yeah, the president's a man of great words, funny words, and all those things are down. But like I said before, most people are dead.
I mean, just what would happen when those ships came down and it would have been real bad. And
Yeah.
also,
Thank God we had a strong president to see us through.
Yeah,
Thomas Whitmore.
Communicate
President Whitmore.
frank, because they might be talking about us behind our back. We want to communicate straight.
but like fucking Obama, man, if aliens came, he wouldn't have the.
He'd bow to it.
That's right, he would.
Although I feel like Biden would be up there flying around with the Blue Angels, probably. I'll give him that.
Biden would be like Randy Quaid's character.
Or maybe Harry Connick Jr.
He
But
probably has been abducted by aliens. So he
Yeah.
probably is waiting for them to come back.
Yeah.
Also, my other favorite part in that movie is at the end when Randy Quaid tells them that he is waiting to get revenge on the aliens, and Adam Baldwin and the other guy are like, abducted by aliens. Look at this fucking crazy guy, and they're about to go fight aliens, and they still don't believe him. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
This fucking guy with the alien abduction stories. Let's go fight the aliens, guys.
I think Nancy Pelosi would be the alien that Will Smith punches.
Yes.
No, as long as you pick a man, my feminism will allow that as well. As long as
All
you.
right.
Yeah,
Or well, it could just easily be John Boehner as well.
yeah, fair. There you go. With these heartening words, it all comes down to Independence Day. I'm glad that we can come together on this. I feel right about this. I think I better wrap this damn thing up though, as much as I literally would like to talk about Independence Day all day long. I mean, okay. I was gonna have people who would want to promote their works. Go read. What's your blog, David? Tell the people.
ForgottenBeard.wordpress.com.
I put it on my blog roll finally.
I got two on my blog roll too.
Well, good. And Michelle and Joe just keep on keeping on.
Oh, I'll actually rep my former employer, the Foundation for Economic Education. They have this program called Big Ideas Live, and it's an online education thing. It's like a conversation webinar. And on Tuesday, July 8th, they're having a program called What Does It Cost to Keep Them Out? And it's all about immigration. And I think it'd be a really good thing to watch. So yeah, Big Ideas Live Facebook page, or follow the Foundation for Economic Education on Facebook and check it out.
Sounds awesome. Thank you. Joe, do you want to say we should watch other Michael Bay movies?
There'll be big changes in the Stag blog coming up soon that you don't know about, but that I have to do. So
I
we'll keep an
don't
eye
even know
out
about
for
them.
new designs and new features that are coming soon.
All
Alright.
Comic Sans.
No. Oh, also, in other Steigerwald news, isn't Uncle John going to be on the Daily Caller now with his columns?
At least this Sunday, his
Okay.
column will be in the
I
Daily
think
Caller.
the Daily Caller is going to publish our Uncle John's columns now, so that's good. We like him. And forever and always, you can go read my things in Anti-War and Rare and Vice and the Stag Blog and hopefully someday somewhere else, but I don't really have the time management skills for that. I think we gotta wrap this up. God knows how long it took, but Independence Day, the movie, not so much the day, deserves that. Thank you, David and Michelle and Joe. Thank you to Google for being too confusing for two of my supposed guests today.
We
And,
beat the British.
We did. We were gonna have a British guy, and we beat him because he failed at Google Hangouts. Yeah, I feel even more patriotic than I did before.
No
All
shots
right.
fired. Yeah.
Sorry, David. Was that a final word?
Yeah, exactly. That'd be my new blog. No shots fired.
Okay. All right. We're wrapping this up. Quiet, all of you. I have a flag. This is the only flag I have in the whole house. It's for gay people. Also, never forget, dead Yankees don't lie. I have nothing with an actual American flag on it in my entire house. I almost wore a Croatia shirt because that's also red, white, and blue. Well, happy 4th of July to all the libertarians and their ilk out there. Don't tread on any of us. Thank you, Michelle. This is a rambling politics for people who hate politics. Go out there and watch Independence Day. It'll be on TBS. You'll love it. Don't think too hard. All right. See you guys later.